Hi, you guys. What are we doing here?
Listening?
That's a good thing. What happens if you listen?
You can hear a story.
What else happens if you listen?
And you're being respectful?
And what else?
I don't know.
What happens at school when you listen?
You're behaving good? You get good grades.
Why?
Because you're being respectful.
There's more. How do you get the good grade?
I listen.
By doing what though? Because I know I never got a good grade for listening. How do you get it? What else do you get from listening? Or how do you get the good grades from listening?
Doing your job. Listening a lot.
When you listen, you also
If you listen, you can hear the directions and you know how to do everything.
you know how to do things, which means you are doing what? Listening begins with L, and this is another L word.
Learning.
You learn, right? When you listen, you learn. You learn. Today, you're going to learn some stories. And you know, lately, as I've been telling stories, and I have different ages of kids, today I told, because I'm working, you guys, my name's Kurt, first of all, Kurt Jackson, if you don't know me. And does anybody know what I do besides tell stories? What do?
Teach at MAP.
I teach at MAP. And today, I was at MAP, and I work with the older kids now. I used to work with the kindergartners and first graders and second and third graders. Now I work with fourth and fifth and some sixth graders. So as I'm telling them a story today, I'm like, you know what? These guys are old enough now that they can tell their own stories. So I asked them whoever has sleepovers at their house, and a lot of them raised their hands. I said whoever goes camping or who does Girl Scouts, and a lot of them raised their hands, or Boy Scouts. And I realized that, you know, through listening to stories, you would be able to tell your own stories. Okay? So there's a lot of benefits to listening. Okay? And that's a really, I think, an important trait to have growing up as a kid. Okay? So as I tell you stories, I know some kids go home, and they tell it to their families.
That's what I did.
Right? And that's great, because you know, then your families are really proud that they brought you to a library and knew that you really listened when you were there. Okay? Just like when you go home and you share stories about school or things that you do after school. You guys are always telling stories, and storytelling is very important. Okay? But to be able to tell, you also have to listen. So I know you're all going to do a good job today, a great job listening. All right, are we ready for some stories? Okay. Well, what is today? Anybody know what today is? What's so special about today? You might have heard it around somewhere. What would you?
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo. Did anybody realize it was Cinco de Mayo? And what is Cinco de Mayo? Did anybody tell you what Cinco de Mayo was?
It's a holiday in Mexico.
In Mexico, yeah. So, you know, I got home and I was like, oh my goodness, it's Cinco de Mayo. I should tell a story from
Mexico.
Yeah.
I know the story.
But then I realized I couldn't think of any stories from Mexico. But I found a joke. You want to hear a joke?
Yes.
Okay. How many people from Mexico does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I know how. How?
One.
I don't get it. I get one. That can be somebody's name. Oh.
Yes. In Spanish, it's a name.
Yeah.
Okay. Very, very much like John. It's Juan. So you guys could tell that joke, Juan. But it kind of leads me into a story about a character named Juan Bobo. But Juan Bobo was from Puerto Rico. And he's kind of like a Jack. You know, you heard any of the Jack stories?
No.
Like Jack and the Beanstalk. As a storyteller, you know, I read lots of stories, and there are lots. That's a famous one. But there are lots and lots of Jack stories. I tell a story about a silly Jack, who does some pretty silly things, but he always listens to his mom. And Juan Bobo is very much like this Jack, and he ends up doing these silly things, but he always listens to his mom. So Juan Bobo gets up one morning, and his mom says to Juan Bobo, she says, "Juan Bobo, I want you to go, and I want you to get our pig and wash the pig and make the pig look beautiful so you can take the pig to market and sell it." And Juan Bobo listened to his mom, and he said, "Yes, mother." So he brought the pig. It was a big pig. And he brought the pig outside, and he got a big bucket of water, and he got some soap, and he scrubbed down the pig, and scrubbed him and scrubbed him and scrubbed him clean, and then poured water over the pig, and the pig was sparkling clean. But Juan Bobo looked at the pig and said, "You know, it's clean, but it's not really beautiful." So he looked at the pig and he said, "I know what it needs." So he went upstairs and he grabbed one of his mother's skirts, one with the elastic band, and he brought it down and he put it on to the pig. And he says, "Okay, we're getting places here." So he's thinking, he says, "Oh, it needs a blouse." So he thought of his great aunt, Margarita, and he went to her house, because she was a large woman, and asked if he could borrow a blouse from her. And she said, "Of course you can, Juan Bobo." And he took the blouse, and I think she thought, he was borrowing it for his mother. But nope, he went and he got the blouse and he put it on the pig.
What's a blouse?
It's like a nice shirt.
No,
Yeah. And then he looked at the pig and he says, still missing something. So then he went upstairs into his mom's room and he grabbed a red wig and he grabbed some high heel shoes and some eyeshadow and some blush and some lipstick, and went back downstairs and put the wig on the pig and put on some eyeshadow and some blush and really took his time putting the lipstick on the pig. Then he looked at the pig when he was all done. Oh, and then he put the high heels on. It's trotters. And he looked at the pig and said, "Oh, now the pig is beautiful. Now I must take it to market." So he got a rope and he tied it around the pig, and the pig started following him to the market. And it was all well and fine until there came a big, huge mud puddle. And when that pig saw that mud puddle, well, that pig could not help itself. The pig stepped into the mud puddle and started rolling around a couple times. Well, when it rolled around, the high heel shoes, one, fell off and broke. The other one kind of went to the side of one of the trotters. The wig got ripped, and the eyeshadow and the makeup got all, and the lipstick was all over the place. And soon, the pig was having so much fun in the mud that it was a mess. And Juan Bobo tried to get the pig out of the mud, but the pig, kind of forgot that Juan Bobo was supposed to be leading him around. And Juan Bobo had a hard time getting that big pig out of the mud. But finally, Juan Bobo was able to get the pig out of the mud.
When the mud was gone.
And by the time he got that pig to the market, he was not so beautiful anymore. And do you think Juan Bobo was able to sell that pig?
No.
He did not. He had to bring the pig all the way back home and told his mom what had happened. So they say in Puerto Rico, I guess when somebody tries to get all dressed up so much that they don't even look like themselves, that they say that they got all dressed up like Juan Bobo's pig. So that's a little story from Puerto Rico.
Is that real?
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
Could be,
No.
right?
No.
Maybe? Yes?
Do you remember the story about the bus driver?
I do remember that story. I do remember that story. I asked my girls today, I said, what stories should I tell? Because they come to the library just about every time I'm here. And they've heard stories over and over and over. Who's heard my stories over and over and over, right? And I thank you guys for always coming back and listening to my story. It makes me feel really, really good. Who has never heard me tell a story before? Well, you all just heard one, right? But this is your first time, right? Okay. So my girls, they said, they gave me a couple of, stories that I could tell. The bus driver was one of them. The other one was Turtle of Coca, which is a fun story. But I'm kind of strapped in here. And Turtle of Coca is a really fun story, but it takes lots and lots of movement. But, yes?
Did they pick the belly button monster?
They didn't pick that one. Do you like that one?
I love that one.
You like that one? Let's see. How about I tell you, what was Maya's pick? Is Maya here? What did you want me to tell? Do you remember? It was about let me see, I wrote it down. It was, there it is. And the answer is, the Jinkum. She mentioned that this morning. Oh, thank you. All right, I'll tell you guys about the Jinkum. You guys know what a Jinkum is?
No.
You don't know what a Jinkum is?
No.
Oh, well, guess what? I don't know what a Jinkum is. You don't know what a Jinkum is. Nobody knows what a Jinkum is. But I do know this, that a Jinkum, it's an interesting creature. And it has, I believe, 2 long legs in the back. And it has 2 short legs in the front. In the back legs, they're what? Long, right? One of the long legs is longer than the other one. And in the front, with the short legs, one of the short legs is shorter than the other one. So Jinkums, they kind of walk around in circles. And that's what they do all day, is they walk around in circles. Now, one day, the Jinkum was walking around in circles, as Jinkums always do. When along came Bampoodle. And
I think I've heard that story before.
do you know what a Bampoodle is?
No. Is it bamboo?
Oh, I think it might eat bamboo. But, a Bampoodle, let's see. Well, you don't know what it is, right? I don't know what it is, and guess what? Nobody knows what it is. But I did hear this, that Bampoodles are pretty big and they're pretty mean. Well, there was the Jinkum walking around in circles, as it always does. And along came Bampoodle and saw the Jinkum and took Bampoodle, picked him up by his 2 long legs, swung him around over his head, and whoosh, threw the Jinkum as far as he could throw him. Yeah. He was thrown so far that he couldn't even see his home anymore. And he got up and he tried to walk home, but he could not. Why couldn't he walk home?
Because he could only walk in circles.
Because he could only walk in circles. So you know what he did?
What?
He sat down and he started to cry. If he only knew how silly he looked, he would never cry. But there he was, crying. When along came Goodly Fump. Now, Goodly Fump, you all know what a Goodly Fump is. You don't know what a Goodly Fump is?
No.
You don't know. I don't know. Guess what?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. But I will tell you this. Goodly Fumps are very kind. I did hear that. They're very kind. Well, Goodly Fump came along and saw the Jinkum crying. Oh. And Goodly Fump said, "Hey, Jinkum, why are you crying?" Just walking in circles like Jinkums always do. And along came Bamboodle and threw me as far as he could throw me, and now I'm trying to get home. And I can't. Because I can only walk in circles, and Jinkums only walk in circles, and that's all we'll ever do. So now I can't get home. Will you stop your crying, you big baby? This crying isn't gonna do you any good. And, you know, Goodly Fump wanted to help him. He said, "Well, I think I can help you." And he sat and he thought for a while. And he says, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna teach you how to walk in a straight line. I can't walk in a straight line. Because I've always walked in circles, and that's all Jinkums will ever do. Oh, put away those tears. We're gonna do this. Well, he got the Jinkum to stop crying. And then he showed him. He said, you take one of these long legs in the back and you bring it forward. And then you take one of these short legs in the front and you put that forward. And then try this long leg back here and move that forward. And then take the other short one and move that forward. And guess what? The Jinkum tried, and sure enough, he learned how to walk in a straight line. And he was so happy. This is fantastic. I can't wait to get home and show all the other Jinkums. And he started walking home in a straight line. See you later. Now that would be the end of the story, but the Jinkum came to a river. Whew. And he realized, I don't know how to swim. I can't swim. I only know how to walk in a straight line. And you know what he did? He sat down and he started to cry. What a day. It's just walking in circles like I always do. A bamboodle. Well, along came Rococo. And Rococo, you must know what a Rococo is.
No.
Are you kidding me?
What do you do?
You don't know what a rococo is? No. I don't know either. Guess what? But, wait a minute. I do know this. I do know this. Rococos are like big, huge fish. So, Rococo comes along, sees the Jinkum on the bank crying. He swam right up to him and said, "Hey, Jinkum, why are you crying?" "Well, I'm just having a bad day. I was walking in circles with a bamboo through me. But, Goodly Foppy taught me how to walk in a straight line when I came to this river and I didn't know how to swim. I can't do it." "Well, but you put away those tears, Mr. Jinkum, because if you get on my back, I can swim you across." "You can?" "Why, of course I can. Get on my back. So the Jinkum got onto his back, and Rococo swam right across the river. All the way across to the other side, and got off his back, and there he was. And he thanked Rococo, and he was ready to walk home. And that could be the end of the story. But guess what?
It's not.
He forgot how to walk in a straight line. He tried and he tried and he could not do it. So you know what he did?
Sat down to cry.
He sat down and he started to cry. "I can't believe this. This is the worst day ever." And he cried and he cried and he cried until Goodly Thump happened to come back by. And he looked at the Jinkum crying, sitting there on a stump. And he said, "I can't believe this. What are you crying about this time? You big baby?" "Well, you know, I told you the bamboo threw me, and you taught me how to walk in a straight line. But I came to this river and I couldn't swim, and I got all upset, and I started to cry." But Rococo came along and swam me across the river on his back. But guess what? What? Come on, spit it out! I forgot how to walk a straight line. No problem. I can teach you again. But the crying's gotta stop. Okay. So we did. Took one of those big long legs in the back, put it forward, took the short leg in the front, put it forward, took the other long leg, brought it forward, took the other short leg, brought it forward, and retrained him how to walk in a straight line. And he walked and he walked. And the story could end there.
No, but it didn't.
He came to a big, huge tree. Hollow tree. And that was his home. Well, all the little tiny Jinkums came running out. "Papa Jinkum, where you been? Well, I gotta tell you, this is kind of the strangest day I've ever had. But I was out walking in circles like Jinkums always do, and along came Bampoodle, and Bampoodle threw me as far, and I couldn't walk home because, you know, we only walk in circles, and I started to cry. But along came
Goodland.
Goodly. Good song. Good song.
Have you guys been listening?
Yes,
Goodly Fump. And along came Goodly Fump, and well, he taught me how to walk in a straight line, but I came to this river, and then I forgot, and I got all upset. But guess what? Rococo came along and swam me across the river, but then I forgot how to walk in a straight line. But when you know, Goodly Fump came along again and trained me how to walk in a straight line. So now I'm going to teach you how to walk in a straight line. And well, all the old Goodly Jinkums were sitting around knitting, saying, "Oh, he's never going to teach those little Jinkums how to walk in a straight line." Well, because we never walk in straight lines. We always walk in circles, and we always will. But wouldn't you know it? He trained them how to walk in a straight line. And to this day, Jinkums can still walk in a straight line.
I did real.
Good question.
Are they Oreo? None of them are Oreo. I know.
Yes. It's kind of late for the bus driver.
The belly button?
Belly button monster? Oh, it's kind of late for the belly button monster, too. I don't want anybody having any bad dreams. I don't want anybody going to bed like this tonight.
No, I'm not going to do that.
You wouldn't do that? Jordan? Turtle of Coca? All right. I'll do Turtle of Coca. Okay. But I'm going to have to hold on to this because if there's some moving going on in this story, you'll see. I'm going to hold this in my hand like a microphone. All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I got to tell you about the Turtle of Coca. And it goes like this. There were these pirates. And the pirates were out to sea for a very, very long time. So long that eventually they ran out of food. Now, once pirates get hungry, well, they get angry and they get mean. Yes. And they start thinking about doing all kinds of crazy things and eating all kinds of things you would never think about eating. So they finally went to the captain and they said, "Captain, we have to do something because we're hungry." So the captain went into his cabin, took out his map, looked around, tried to see where they were, figured it out, and he saw an island, the closest thing, because they were out in the middle of nowhere. And he said, "Ha, there is the island of Coca. We're going to go to the island of Coca and we're going to find food." So they sailed to the island of Coca. And when they got close to the island, well, they got out the little boats. And they rowed and they rowed and they rowed until they got on to the island of Coca. When the captain got there, he said, "All right, I want you to search all over this island. And whatever you find for food, call me." And he said, "Okay, Captain." And the pirates spread out throughout the island of Coca. After a little bit of time, the captain heard, "Captain, over here!" So the captain ran over, and when he got there, the pirates had surrounded something. He said, "Let me in here, let me in here." When he got to the center of the circle, there in the center of the circle was a turtle. The turtle of Coca. And he said, "Ha, ha, ha, ha! Turtle, we can have us some turtle soup back on the ship. Take him on to the ship." So they picked up that poor turtle of Coca and they put him on the rowboat and they rowed him back. Now, this turtle of Coca, I gotta tell you, first of all, is a very wise turtle. And he knew he was in trouble. So he started thinking. When he got on that little boat, he was thinking. Thinking. And he was listening to all these ideas that these pirates were saying they were going to do when they got that turtle onto the ship. Well, they put him up on the ship, and then they surrounded him. The captain looked at the turtle. He says, "Ha ha, right. Before we have some turtle soup, we have to open this turtle's shell. What can we use to open this turtle's shell?" Well, one of the pirates yelled, "Captain, get your hatchet!" "Ha ha, me hatchet. That's a good idea." Like a small axe. "Go and bring me my hatchet." So one of the pirates ran, grabbed him his small hatchet, and he held it over that poor turtle of Coca. And he thought, and he thought, and he thought. And he came up with an idea. And you know what he started to do? He started to sing. He started to dance. And it went a little bit like this. "A turtle of Coca, a turtle of Coca, hard shell, hard shell, hatchet of Coca, can't hurt me, can't hurt me." "Ha! We can't use this hatchet to break open his shell? Ha! Then what can we use to open this turtle's shell? What can we use?" Well, one of the pirates said, "Captain, how about one of your saws?" "Ah, good idea. Go and bring me my saw, and we'll cut that shell open." "Bring me saw." So they brought the captain's saw. They gave it to that captain, and he held it over that poor turtle of Coca. But you know what he did? He started singing, and he started dancing, and it went like this. "A turtle of Coca, a turtle of Coca, hard shell, hard shell, saw of Coca, can't hurt me, can't hurt me." "Can't use this saw? What can we use? What can we use to break open this turtle shell?"
Sword.
Huh? What's that?
A sword.
"A sword. Ha ha. Why didn't I think of that? Bring me sword." Ha ha ha. So they brought the captain's big, huge sword, shiny and sharp. And he held it over that poor turtle of Coca. And he looked up at that sword, and you know what he did?
Dancing.
And it went like this. "A turtle of Coca, a turtle of Coca, hard shell, hard shell." What was it? "Sword of Coca, can't hurt me, can't hurt me." "What? We can't use me sword? Choo! What can we use then?" What?
A gun.
Who said that? Who said dynamite? Ha ha! That's why you're me first mate. Ha ha ha! Go and get me a stick of dynamite. Well, they brought out a big stick of dynamite. The captain lit that stick of dynamite, and he held it over that poor turtle of Coca. And he looked up at that stick of dynamite, and you know what he did? And it went like this.
No, wait.
"A turtle of Coca, a turtle of Coca, hard shell, hard shell, dynamite of Coca, can't hurt me, can't hurt me." What? We can't use this dynamite?
before the turtle could swim.
Ah, we can't use dynamite. What can we use?
A gun.
You kids are violent. Jeez. But it's a good idea. Bring me my gun. It's got a big, long gun. They brought it out. Put in some gunpowder. Put in some bullets. Pointed it at that poor turtle of coca.
Oh no.
Poor turtle of coca. But you know what that turtle did? He stared that gun right down the barrel. And he started singing. And dancing. And it went something like this. A turtle of coca, a turtle of coca, hard, hard shell, gun of coca, can't hurt me, can't hurt me. Ah, we can't use this gun. So we can't use this gun. What can we use? What can we use? Huh? RPG. Is that a football player? Cannon. High five. We got one of those. Get me cannon. RP3, get me cannon. I think so. Well, they brought the captain's cannon. And he pointed it at that poor, poor turtle of coca.
He started singing. Not again. He started singing.
And he looked down that cannon. And you know what he did?
Started dancing and singing.
And it went a little bit like this.
We know.
A turtle of coca, a turtle of coca, hard, hard shell, cannon of coca, can't hurt me, can't hurt me. Now we could go on all night, can't we? But that turtle of coca, he got really wise. And he said to those pirates, Captain, whatever you do, please don't throw me in the ocean. Please.
He's smart because he needs skill.
Throw him in the ocean. What a great idea. We'll throw him in the ocean, we'll drown him, and then we'll get him out of his shell. Throw him in the ocean!
He knows how to swim.
Those pirates picked up that poor turtle of coca, and they went 1, 2, 3. And well, that turtle of coca came back up, started swimming away, doing the backstroke. And he sang, turtle of coca, turtle of coca, hard, hard shell, ocean of coca, that's my home, that's my home. And well, those poor hungry pirates never ever saw a turtle of coca again. The end. What'd you think of that? You guys, thank you so much for coming out tonight. It makes me feel so nice to see all you guys. Really. It was a good night. It's been raining all week, right? You guys got games canceled and
Thank you.
Right?
All my
What a
baseball
great
soccer
night to be
games
here.
have been canceled.
so whenever it's a rainy day like this, sit around with the family and
Thank
tell
you for reading
stories.
this to us.
You're very welcome. Thank you for saying thank you. I'll be here in the summer.